Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having a great day. Well, it has finally happened. I'm gonna give, I know I shouldn't be doing this, I'm gonna give myself a little tiny pat on the back if I can reach, because for some reason every single time I say something it's happening a couple of days later. So I'm gonna go just all out there and I'm going to say Bitcoin's going to hit $10,000 before summer, because every single time that I keep mentioning really weird happening things, they end up happening. Lo and behold, I was talking about before, we're going to have sometime this year that a bank is going to announce that they're going to create their own cryptocurrency because they're going to be afraid of being left behind, and just so happens to be from our very good friend Mr. Jamie Dimon. The first cryptocurrency created by a major US bank is here, and it's from J.P. Morgan Chase. The lender moves more than $6 trillion around the world every day for corporations in its massive wholesale payments business. In trial set to start in a few months, a tiny fraction of what will happen over something called the JPM coin, the digital token created by engineers at the New York-based bank to instantly settle payments between clients. JP Morgan is preparing for a future in which parts of the essential underpinning of global capitalism, from cross-border payments to corporate debt issuance, moves to the blockchain. That's the database technology made famous by the first application known as Bitcoin. But in order for that future to happen, the bank needed a way to transfer money at the same dizzying speed that those smart contracts closed, rather than relying on old technologies such as wire transfers. They said, so anything that currently exists in the world, as that moves onto the blockchain, this would be the payment leg for the transaction. This was said by Umar Farouk, head of JP Morgan's blockchain products. The applications are frankly quite endless. Anything where you have a distributed ledger, which involves corporations or institutions, can use this. For some, JP Morgan's new currency may come as an unexpected development for a technology that rose from the wreckage of the financial crisis and was supposed to disrupt the established banking world. When the international payments are tested, it will be one of the first real-world applications for a cryptocurrency in banking. The industry has mostly shunned the asset class as too risky. Last year, JP Morgan and two other lenders banned the purchase of Bitcoin, all makes sense now, by credit card customers, and Goldman Sachs reportedly shelved plans to create a Bitcoin trading desk after exploring the idea. Though holders of Bitcoin and other digital currencies may seize on the news that a major financial institution is issuing its own crypto as bullish for the asset class, retail investors will probably never get to own a JPM coin, neither would we want to. Unlike Bitcoin, only big institutional clients with JP Morgan have undergone regulatory checks, like corporations, banks, and broker-dealers can use the tokens. It was about time. I thought we would have a bit more time, but nope, we are already here. This is mind-boggling. Doesn't even begin to explain like the way that my brain is actually spinning right now. And I mean, this is because whoever these people were in 2013, 2014, who called all of this going to happen, I don't remember where they are, where they're from. This was spoken about before, and like I said, I thought we had a couple more years until we got to this point. Nope, we are here. It all makes a lot of sense right now. Why Jamie Dimon? First of all, for those who weren't here, Jamie Dimon has been relentless in his hate for Bitcoin and his love for things blockchain. And he went on television and he goes on panels and he makes sure to sit there grinning and smiling, talking about exactly how much he hates Bitcoin and hates cryptocurrencies. So it does make a lot of sense they would be launching their own cryptocurrency. First of all, no one should have even aspired to even owning a JPM coin. I have a feeling it's going to be some type of a stable coin, so I don't think it's even going to be an actual cryptocurrency, air quotes, the ones that we actually use on a daily basis. I'm pretty sure that they are betting on the use of a stable coin to be able to try and send transactions back and forth. Who knows exactly what's going to happen? This is, I wish I could like really put into words exactly everything that I'm feeling right now, because it's very exciting to me, because I know that these things aren't going to succeed. I know that they're going to be mismanaging them. I know that they're going to get into a situation where their systems fail, their systems don't work. There's going to be tons of things that are going to be happening. I assume we will get the full brute force of this sometime throughout the rest of 2019. I would not be shocked if by the end of this month or even sometimes towards the middle of next month, if we end up getting around 2 to 3 more banks who are going to be coming out talking about that they're also going to be launching their own cryptocurrency, I would also not be surprised if we start hearing other countries talking about that they're going to be launching their own cryptocurrency. You have to all see where this is leading. You have to all see that crypto is not going anywhere, that this is going to be a very solid industry. But what we're going to see very fast is that a lot of people think that because cryptocurrencies exist, so that because corporations, institutions, or banks are creating their own cryptocurrencies, that fraudulent activities cannot take place. And we're going to see a lot of this, and it's going to be for the first time ever on a blockchain. So we're going to get into many situations where we're going to have a lot of countries and stuff like that where they're going to be misappropriating funds, destroying things, trying to do whatever they can, and it's all going to be on a blockchain. It's all going to be readable and, for lack of a better word, legible. This doesn't terrify me. It doesn't even make me anxious. It actually makes me very, very excited, because it shows me that JP Morgan Chase was so terrified of just what Bitcoin could have done to their bank and to their institution that they decided to go out and make their own cryptocurrency, the same thing that they bashed for years. I would also not be surprised if they have a huge bet or have been investing in many other companies that are either dealing in Bitcoin, transacting in Bitcoin, or any other type of Bitcoin startups, because they're so desperate to not be left behind. Realize what a 10-year-old cryptocurrency has done. It has made banks bend to its will to create their own cryptocurrency, because they're so, even Bitcoin can be as slow as it even is right now. They created this as a response to try and tell the world that we're not going to be left behind. If Bitcoin had never been created, if we had never had a situation in 2008 where this was created and then released to the world in 2009, I can almost assure you we would still be using the exact same systems from the 1970s, and that would have been the end of it. Anyway, this is major news right now. It's all over the place. But yeah, let's move on. Next up, Bitcoin and pizza are in the news. A new consumer app enabling anyone in the United States to order pizza using Bitcoin via the Lightning Network has launched last week. I guess it's called Lightning Pizza. The latest offering from San Francisco-based Bitcoin payment app called Fold claims to be the first nationwide retail service powered by Lightning payments meant to spread utility and spur awareness and adoption. Users are able to select pizza from Domino's for collection or delivery to any U.S. address, and I assume they have any U.S. address because we've seen before is usually New York that doesn't get anything. Payment is done with Bitcoin, specifically using the Lightning Network, allowing the off-chain transaction to confirm almost instantly with a fee of less than 1 cent. They said every order is 5% off, 1 cent transaction fees, instant settlements, and 30 minutes delivery time. They apparently promised this. The service is currently in initial phase, with users reporting they were unable to access the full range of Domino products available via the regular menu order process. The point is, you can now order pizza with Lightning Network. I guess the bigger story here is, I told you that Lightning was the thing that everyone's kind of betting on, and this seems to be a rapidly growing trend, because I'm not sure if it's something in the air, I'm not sure if it's the season, or I'm not sure if it's just because everyone believes still that the market is going to move up in March once we have Fidelity and NASDAQ launch their things. And the Lightning Network is probably going to be one of the most significant things that we're going to have during this bull run up, because I'm going to assume, still going to assume this, but I can feel that it's actually going to happen. The New York Stock Exchange, the NASDAQ, and Fidelity, and maybe even a couple of other big places are going to announce that they are also partnered with or are dealing with the Lightning Network, because we also had news a couple of days ago at this point that the New York Stock Exchange had a meeting with Blockstream, the people who pretty much build on top of Bitcoin and made Lightning Network, what have you. Lightning is the it thing. We are not going to have another situation where we have a hyper mega crazy bull run and we have 500,000 transactions that are slowed down in the network. So Lightning is going to be the thing that everyone is potentially going to be using by the end of next year. If you're using Bitcoin, I think that's going to be the thing. I'm waiting for it to be announced. It probably already is going to be integrated into like some of the original like Bitcoin apps and stuff like that. Like I don't think blockchain has activated or utilized the Lightning Network thus far, but I'm pretty sure they're going to, because we need, if Bitcoin, we know how the market works at this point. We know that if Bitcoin goes down and falls down heavily, everyone else, even if every other coin is outperforming it, they all will slide back down with it. So we need to not have a situation where payments aren't going through, because all it would take, and realistically this is how the world works, is if somebody's trying to send a transaction with Bitcoin and they're a very rich person and they try to send $1 million and it doesn't go through, all they have to do is go on social media or some other place if they own their own network. Who knows exactly the extent of how far it could go? It sounds ridiculous, but this is how the world works right now. Social media is very powerful, and it takes one person to badmouth Bitcoin and how slow everything is going, and everyone else starts to tumble in it as well. Lightning Network is pretty much the thing. I think Liquid is only for exchanges, and until we get some other side chains and other layers and stuff like that, it looks like Lightning is now being bet on as the saving hope for the Bitcoin network. But yeah, let's move on. Next up, Barry Silbert, CEO and founder of Digital Currency Group and Grayscale Investments, the people who control 1% of all the Bitcoin, said that the majority of digital tokens will not have value in the long run. This was said by, he said this on CNBC. This happened yesterday. In a purported phone interview with CNBC, Silbert said, "I'm not a believer in the vast majority of digital tokens and believe most will go to zero." He added that almost every ICO was just an attempt to raise money, but there was no use for the underlying token. ICO experienced a boom in late 2017, early 2018, which was followed by a bust as prices dropped and state and federal regulators cracked down heavily on projects that were running afoul of securities laws. Earlier today, Cointelegraph reported that data from CoinSchedules shows that ICO valuations are down to levels just above those seen in January 2017, etc., blah, 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 blah. Despite his bearish views on ICO tokens, Silbert still remains optimistic about Bitcoin, I wonder why, in which he was reportedly an early investor. Oh, come on. While Bitcoin has a really ugly technical chart, in Silbert's opinion, he says it has won the race to be digital gold. I like to, maybe other people don't. I know that not everyone or not one person knows everything. It is impossible as a person to know everything in the entire world. But I ask you to keep in mind whenever we have situations like this, because this is not the first time that this has come from the mouth of someone who is rich, who has rich friends, and probably potentially maybe knows the inner workings of what's happening behind the scenes as far as what's going to be integrated, what's going to be added. I personally believe that Bitcoin is not going anywhere, regardless of how many other forks or chains or any other things that people may be trying to attack it with. I think Bitcoin's name is going to stay for a very long time. I'm seeing a very strong backlash against ICO tokens or coins that were ICOs, and I usually see a pattern that people tend to exclude Ethereum from this, even though Ethereum was also an ICO. It wasn't really marketed as an ICO, if that kind of makes a lot of sense. Like, it was, Ethereum was kind of birthed in a different way, even though it was an ICO. So there's a clear trend that's happening here where people are talking about that. I mean, to be 1000% fair, if he got into Bitcoin as an early investor, one can only assume he got in around the time it was anywhere from $1 to $15. So he's kind of going to say things like this, but keep your hats on and pay attention very diligently, because by, I want to say, May of this year, and people disagree with me in the comment section, that's fine. We can all disagree with each other. You know, like I said, not one person knows anything, but from my feeling about the entire situation is we're going to have a clear understanding of the coins that are going to be not hyper accepted, but the ones that are going to make it. And I know a lot of people don't like that idea, because I see people talking about coins that I would never own. But just know a lot of those coins are going to disappear, because at least I want to say only I want to say like 7 to 15 coins are maybe being juggled around right now as being like the coins that are going to be pushed forward as the winner. And it's either Bitcoin and Ethereum, definitely. Maybe a couple of forks. I still don't think that they're going to be adding Bitcoin Cash onto any platform because it would cause too much confusion. And any other coin that has been regulatory compliant or has said, yes, we like regulations, they have cleared a huge field for themselves to be accepted. Anyway, I thought this was quite interesting. And yeah, let's move on. Next up, Beam has announced that it has plans to introduce a Mimblewimble compatible Lightning network. According to a paper published by Beam 2 days ago, Beam's main goal for implementing the Lightning network, which would allow for a second layer scaling solution for quick transfers quick transfers on value off chain, is to enhance the altcoin in commercial settings where payments would require quick confirmation. While Beam's paper states that their transaction capacity is 3 times faster than that of Bitcoin's, the paper notes that it is not at the same level as most other payment processors. There is no set timeline announced for when Beam plans to implement the Lightning Network into their platform, according to the paper. However, on the 7th of February, Beam published a blog post on Medium stating that the top altcoin, Litecoin, had approached Beam for possible cooperation to implement Mimblewimble through extension blocks. Right. I think they need a time frame. I think, first of all, first of all, I think they really need to get a move on right now. The point of Beam and I guess also Grin is that they're made both on the Mimblewimble protocol, but they have different ideals, if you will. Beam is meant to be like an institution level coin. It's meant to be used by larger corporations and stuff like that to be able to send data back and forth. And this is why, or rather value back and forth. This is why they have a set number of Beam that are going to be created, similar to how Bitcoin is. But on the other hand, Grin is meant to be as an actual like used coin, if you kind of want to say that. Anyway, the point is, I'm trying to put this in like a nicely worded phrase. I don't not like Beam. I just feel like they may be setting themselves up for a situation where if they don't have the partnerships early enough, that they probably won't be as popular as Litecoin or as XRP or as Ethereum or as EOS or as Bitcoin. They're never going to be as popular as Bitcoin, but I hope you kind of get what I'm saying. So them implementing the Lightning Network is very good for them. I feel like they need to have an actual time frame to be able to do this, because I could see a future where Beam slips very far backwards into the rankings as time continues to go on. Because once I told you guys before, once Litecoin actually has Mimblewimble and I think also ZK Snarks on top of it as well, Litecoin is going to move up and is going to become even more popular than it already is. I don't know. I have my own weird feelings about Beam and its creation and stuff like that, but we'll see exactly how this ends up working out. I mean, Lightning is also like the new thing that everyone's trying to do. Stellar was supposed to have also implemented Lightning Network last year. I don't think that ever happened. I remember seeing articles about it at the beginning of 2018, and I still believe that we do not have a Lumens Lightning Network. Everyone's trying to implement Lightning because it's kind of the thing to do. Yeah, if you want to be quick enough. Yeah, let's move on. Here's a weird one. One of the biggest reasons for the rejection of Bitcoin ETFs given by the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission is that Bitcoin ETFs are subjected to price manipulation. However, Brian Quintes, the commissioner at the Commodities and Futures Exchange Commission, or the CFTC, begs to differ. At the recently held event for the Bipartisan Policy Center, the CFTC head talked about various issues regarding the current economic situation with the SEC commissioner. Her name is Hester Pierce. Here's them actually sitting on a panel. In that talk, Quintes said, "Our jurisdiction over these Bitcoin futures contracts require that they not be readily susceptible to..." Wow, excuse me. And I don't have any tea next to me. Wow, that was horrible. And I think a bug or something. Okay. Sorry about that. There are mathematical ways through a settlement index to design a contract where even if there isn't a lot of liquidity on the one exchange referenced, the index itself is not readily acceptable to manipulation. For instance, in one of the Bitcoin futures contracts, they settle it to multiple volumes, weighted average prices in 5-minute increments over the course of an hour across multiple exchanges. My goodness. Okay, so the point of all of this, without reading through all of it, is that someone from the CFTC, the head of the CFTC, kind of came forward and kind of called the SEC out, because they said that the reason why they haven't let a Bitcoin ETF through thus far is because they think that the Bitcoin ETFs are subject to manipulation. And the head of the CFTC came forward and said, no, they actually aren't. It's not as easy as you might think. So I found this interesting because I've mentioned for quite a long amount of time that the SEC, I don't know if they're lying, but I feel like they've been trying to flex a muscle that's getting weaker and weaker every single week, if you will. And it's nice to hear that someone else from not their competition, but someone else who has tried to show dominion over cryptocurrencies has kind of come forward to kind of call them on their bluff, because especially since we had news earlier that the SEC made someone withdraw their ETF proposal because they said that they didn't feel comfortable with it because it was going to be automatically accepted. So there's some type of hypocrisy going on there, but yeah, let's move on. I guess to kind of finish this off, where's the actual news? To breeze over it very quickly, is apparently that BitTorrent token, the BTT, has now been paired with XRP on Bitrue, the cryptocurrency exchange. So I always like talking about whenever there's new pairings and stuff like that, because yeah, it helps to increase the liquidity. So it's nice to hear that. I mean, BitTorrent token is still relatively new, but it's nice to hear that it's getting all these new payment pairings on multiple different cryptocurrency exchanges. This always pops up, my goodness. I think that is definitely going to do it for this video. A lot of really weird news. I think the most ridiculous news thus far, at least in this video, is that JP Morgan Chase is creating their own cryptocurrency. It was going to happen. It was bound to happen. Part of the issue is that JP Morgan is very rich, very powerful, and I can assume that many other banks are going to try and mimic them and try to do the exact same thing, to try to also show that they're down, that they're hip, that they also know what a blockchain is, and that they also going to launch their own cryptocurrency. But a lot of these are going to fail, and I kind of want to see it happen. That's kind of the nicest way of really saying it. Anyway, hope you all enjoyed. I hope that you all are having a great day. Hope that you all are having a great morning, a great afternoon, a great evening. Wherever you are, wherever you might be. Lost my train of thought. Thank you all for watching. As always, a very special thank you to my Patreon supporters. Like, I actually lost my train of thought. It completely went away. Vlad the Impaler, Gil Boa Snake, Rai, Brady Nields, L. Doug, Arthur Yaku, Professor Wally from Gunbot University, Nick Mangialavori, Travis Haynes, Gordon Nikic, Yasha Harari, Anthony Charles, and Nick Kanaya. Thank you all very, very much for your generosity. And yeah, I will talk to you all soon. See you.